안녕하세, 안녕하세요, hey, it's Natalia, and in this interview that I did with Steve Kaufmann, there was a lot of footage that I had to cut out. But some of it I would like to share with you guys here today. So during the interview, I asked Steve how I could go from my everyday Korean and like basic academic Korean that I know to the level of academic Korean that I would need to know for grad school to complete coursework in Korean. If that wasn't clear from the fact that I'm only learning Korean. Basically, Steve shares with me how he comes to understand the political content that he enjoys and just more abstract content. I was trying to find another word other than content, didn't work out. But anyway, let's listen to what Steve has to say. Oh, and don't forget that I have a link or a discount link for Link down here if you want one. Okay, yeah. Now let's jump into the video. Go. But I know you enjoy listening to content that is more at a, I guess, you like listening to political content. I don't know how to bridge that gap between, okay, this is like everyday content that I'm learning to academic, and I'm wondering how you tend to get to that level, I guess.
I mean, it's just a matter of listening to this stuff, reading it, looking up the words, becoming familiar with the sort of range of words, this kind of structure that is used in that form of the language. It's no different, really. The only way to develop that range of vocabulary and that you know, sense of you know, how people express themselves in that environment is to listen to a lot of it. To me, the grammar is not a big issue. Like, the grammar is finite. There's only so many rules. There's only so many patterns. It's not even the rules, patterns. You know, there's X number, and you learn that fairly quickly. I don't think that's a big issue. The big issue is words, and so you have to acquire more and more words.
Yes.
And if you acquire these words through a process of lots of listening and reading, along the way you develop a certain sense for the language, the rhythm of the language, your comprehension improves, your pronunciation improves, and every so often you refer back to those, you know, grammar patterns because you've forgotten or you're not 100% sure or whatever, but that's a finite number. That's a minor problem. The biggest problem is just, and even if you get to something that's very sort of intellectual and very, you know, dense, and you look up the words and it still doesn't make sense to you, that's only a lack of practice. The more you listen to that, the more you read that, the more familiar you become with that, the way they express themselves in that sort of, what the linguistics people call register. Oh. Silly word. But yeah, you just have to expose yourself to that kind of content, acquire the words, get used to listening to it, get used to reading it, and eventually you get the ability to produce the same kind of language yourself.
I hope you guys gained something from this short snippet, and if you haven't seen the original interview where we talk about how to begin learning a language from scratch with some actionable steps, the step-by-step method, you can check it out right down here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So, bye guys, bye!